Listen,
Sweet and sour sauce, you know the deal.
yeah.
Back with another video for the feels.
Okay.
So stick around to the end for the vibes. Go ahead and drop a like, then you might as well subscribe. Sweet and sour sauce is in the building. Yes. Alright, you already know the deal. If you're new here, my name is Sweet. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate you stopping in. And for my subscribers, make sure to stay saucy, because if you don't, who else gonna saucinate? Welcome back to another Sunday with Soss, the continuation of the series where I review everything that God has taught me throughout the week in the hopes of maybe helping somebody else come to know Him the way that I do. So this video is going to be a little shorter than usual because we are only going to go over the 5 Bible chapters that I read this past week and what messages that I've received from them, what I feel like God is saying in these chapters, and what I've learned in general from the Word. Sounds like a plan? Let's get it. So today we're going to look at chapters 9 through 13 of Leviticus. These 5 chapters mark the transition from Israel being obedient to rebellious towards God and His commands. In chapter 12, Miriam and Aaron decide to challenge Moses' leadership, possibly due to jealousy, under the premise of criticizing his marriage to an Ethiopian woman. They said, "Does the Lord speak only through Moses? Does He not also speak through us?" And when God heard this, He called all 3 siblings to the tabernacle and says this to Miriam and Aaron. And when God heard this, He called all 3 siblings to the tabernacle, and He says this to Miriam and Aaron. "Listen to what I say. If there is a prophet among you from the Lord, I make myself known to him in a vision. I speak with him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my household. I speak with him directly, openly, and not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. So why were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses?" The Lord goes on to punish Miriam with leprosy, most likely because she was the instigator of the attack, since her name is mentioned first. A public sin required a public response from the Lord. And because Miriam condemned Moses' wife for the color of her skin, the penalty fit the crime, and it was appropriate for her skin to suffer in response. But racism in any form is a sin, because to judge someone based on their skin is rejecting the truth that all humans were made in God's image, and we're all descendants of Adam and Eve. Jesus' death tore down the illegitimate divisions that separate humanity. For He Himself is our peace, who has made us both one and has broken down in His flesh the dividing wall of hostility by abolishing the law of commandments expressed in ordinances, that He might create in Himself one new man in place of the 2, so making peace, and might reconcile us both to God in one body through the cross, thereby killing the hostility. So God stepped in on behalf of His servant Moses, because there is no place for racial hatred and division among God's people. But before all of this went down, as the Israelites were marching out of the wilderness towards the land of Canaan, every time they would set out from camp, Moses would say, "Arise, Lord, let your enemies be scattered, and those who hate you flee from your presence." These words were a reminder for the people of Israel that war laid ahead. They would eventually encounter hostile forces that despised the Lord and therefore despised His people. This serves as a reminder for Christians that we should not expect acceptance from a Lord that rejects God. In John chapter 15, Jesus says, "The world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify about it, that its works are evil." And later, in chapter 15, He says, "If the world hates you, know that it has hated me before it hated you." We already know that it's common for the people of this world to reject our God, and as discouraging as that is, we must remain vigilant in spreading the gospel, because at the end of the day, salvation is only of the Lord, and it's through God's grace that we are saved. So it's not up to us to worry about what people think or what they might say and trying to fit in, because we shouldn't. We have to leave it in God's hands while remaining faithful to what He calls us to do. Alright, well, that's a wrap, folks. I hope you found some value in this video, and if you did, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe even share this video to somebody else who you feel may find value in it as well. I will leave the link to the pastor's sermon in the description below, and it'll be somewhere floating up there as well. So feel free to check that out if you feel like you're missing that pastoral teaching for the week. I hope you watch it. It's really good. But much love. Appreciate all the support as always. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Peace.